Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell, and today we are looking at the labs of From the Depths, just doing a little bit of testing. So you join me here in my little test area. We're in the designer and we've been having a little muck around with missiles. So the plan for today is just how long a range can you get a missile to go using the various sizes, etc. Now the basics of the missile are that they have a thruster. I'm going to take my little character out for a walk, show you a basic missile setup around the side here. So we basically have in this particular setup a single thruster, which can be delayed by a certain amount, and fuel tanks, and eventually some sort of guidance. Here we've got an infrared seeker and a one turn. So this particular test is just to show how many fuel tanks does one thruster use in 20 seconds, just in case there's any sort of people disagree of how far it should go. So what we will do is just fire off this one, and then use the caps lock to go and look at it, and we can see how much fuel is being used. So as a quick test, there it's off. So we started with 25,000 fuel. Now because there's nothing to shoot at, it's just going straight up, which is, you know, not a problem. So we've got 10,000 fuel, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and it stops. So the thrust at that point stops. So that's, well, I think we're just about in space now. So it used 4 fuel for one thruster. So we now know that we need 4 fuel for each of our thrusters. Okay, so now I've set up a little bit of a test area here. Now, how far can we get with one thruster or more than one thruster? How many thrusters does it take to get a missile out quite far? So what I have done is I'm just going to set, this is we've got a couple of different missiles here. This is a single thruster, one fin, fuel tanks, and a laser designator. The reason I'm using a laser designator is it takes up the fewest number of blocks. It automatically turns the missile, aims it, all the rest of it. Now a couple of things here. I'm using vertical launch missiles. People say, well, there should be horizontal launch. Well, this is true. If you are in a plane heading towards your target, then you're always going to get longer range. But then the reverse is true. If you're heading away from your target, you're going to get shorter range because it's got to turn all the way around. So this vertical launch is a stable platform, gives sort of similar results every time, and you can just say it's a good median between facing and facing away. Every missile's got to do about a 90-degree turn, so it's a good starting point. I also haven't put any ejectors on here. Again, if you are facing your target, an ejector would help to give it initial thrust. In a vertical launch, although you're increasing height, you are increasing the launch velocity a little bit, but I decided not to, just to display what can be done without any extras whatsoever. And the amount you gain is going to be minimal, I think. So first of all, we have the laser designator with one fin. We then, on rack number 2, we have 2 fins and an augmented proportional navigational guidance. So this is the proportional navigation is supposed to aim at the target. steer it towards, and also just a target precision guidance with 2 fins. So these 2 fin ones do need an extra block, just to see what to allow the extra guidance to go in there. Now we do have a little target out here. I have a little target drone, and that's about 1900 meters away. So it's 1897. Yeah. So if we go back here, what we're going to do now is fire these 3 missiles. See what happens. Dun dun dun. Right, so if I make sure I'm not on the weapons, no. Right, if I now just turn on the, there we go. Now, one thing is, one of these just went straight up into the air. And that's your augmented guidance. It just doesn't like trying to steer the missile if you're too long a range or the angle is too far. Now the first missile, our number 4 missile, seemed to get to about here, and then the engine's cut. So we'll give it this point on the ground where it hits the water. Let's take that as where it hits on the water. So that was 1600 meters from the target. Not too bad. And the second one, which is with the 2 fins, but was a little heavier because it's got that extra block. So just that one extra block has taken it down to 1300. So one extra block of weight made a big difference to that missile. So the first one, although limited, is 1600. The second one, a little bit more payload, 1300. Okay. And the augmented is just making its way into space for some reason. I mean, yes, the augmented are just problematic, should we say. So, yeah. It's laser designator. Augmented does not work well with laser designator. Run it with infrared. We will try that later. Okay, let's just disable this one. Yep. Okay, so next, let's see if we can get a little further. So this is now a 7 block missile, and we have 2 thrusters, and they're set with a delay. So the first one fires straight away, the second one fires 20 seconds later. So that's when the first one has stopped, and first one has 1 fin and lots of fuel. There's 8 fuel there, so enough for both missiles. The second one, as you can see just here, it has 2 fins, so it will take a slightly lower trajectory. These are still laser guided. And the third one, again, augmented proportional, just to see what happens. And this has actually got an infrared seeker, so it's got an infrared but no one turn, so it's just an infrared with an augmented proportional navigation and 1 fin, but otherwise the same as the others. So we're trying it with the infrared. Right, let's allow this to work. Right, so we ready? Let's see what range we get with these ones. So augmented still doesn't want to know. It's not turning in the right direction, so we'll just follow the other 2. So we've got the low profile 2 fin job, which is taken a much lower trajectory, turned tighter, and is getting towards the target. They're doing quite well so far. The single fin is now coming down slowly, and oh, they are so, are they going to make it? Oh, not quite. Just, I mean, it's a sort of a hit. Let's just see where the engines actually stop running. So the engine stops running just there. So the engine stops at 1800 meters. 1800 meters is the, and with a slight little extra bit of drop. There we go. Yeah, just about here. I'll put it as 1800 meters, 1800 meters. That's not too bad, not too bad at all. Let's stop those. So that's 2 engines. Guess what? Let's see what we can do with 3. So we'll quickly disable this one and go for this one. So now we have here, this is a 9 and 10 blocks. So the 9 block, 3 thrusters, all set to go at 20-second intervals. Just one fin, 1 warhead. Next one, 3 thrusters. This has got 2 fins, 1 warhead. There is 1 extra there. We could make that 2 warheads. Next one, 3 fins. This is just to see the difference on fins. We're not using the proportion augmented because it don't work for these type of ranges. Now I don't know whether it's the range, these extreme ranges, or it doesn't like it. It's got to be more aimed at the target. So for vertical launch missiles at the moment they don't seem to work very well. Right, we are ready to fire. Okay, let us unleash. So there we have, we can see the effect of the 3 different fins, how they give it a different trajectory. And there's advantages of a higher trajectory over the lower ones, anything in between, and also it'd be coming down on the target rather than to the side. Now at these extreme ranges it wouldn't make much of a difference. By the time it gets to the target it's going to be fairly low angle anyway, but on the closer range missiles there's advantages of having missiles that go straight down. So how far is this going to go? Are we going to beat the other ones? Ding 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 ding. And the high level missile caught up near the end and they are all hitting. Okay, so and our target at the moment is at 1900 meters. So they've got a range of more than 1900 meters. Now obviously these have only got 1 explosive warhead, which doesn't make them that effective really. They can't get through this metal, especially with the way explosives work, and but I want to keep the target there so I can use it. Right, so can we go further? So let's see, what we're going to need to do is have a second pontoon which is a little bit further away. So there we go, here's our second pontoon. So we'll once again this is the same missiles again, but now we are an extra 600 meters away from the target. So let's see if we can get somewhere. There we go. Whoops, we've got some extra missiles firing there. Didn't want that. Let's just take them off there for later. Right, so let's just let that recharge and then we'll follow these missiles just to see what's going to happen. Otherwise we'll get confused as to which missiles are where. Okay, and fire. Right, where are they going? Where are they going? Right, they are going into nothingness. The reason being, your laser only has a maximum range of 2000 meters. So, target further than 2000? No good for lasers. Aha! Let's use infrared. So, our next test. Here we have the same 10 block missile with the various thrusters, 3 thrusters. This one's got 1 fin, an infrared and a 1 turn. So it's just using a 1 turn. This one, 2 fins and a 1 turn. And finally 2 fins and an augmented, just to see whether the augmented will work with the infrared. Not holding my breath for that one. So, but here we go. Let's see if we can hit that target, see how far these actually will go. So, let's see where these are all going. They seem to be, that looks like that's the augmented going over there for some reason. Until we're going that way. So the augmented's headed over that way. Well, that's great. Don't know what it's going over there for, because the target's over this way. I was rocking around a bit there. It's just that's a little bit more stable. So let's see how far this missile will go. Ding, 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 ding. No, it's getting there, it's getting there. But what is the distance going to be? Now, I don't think we're going to make an extra 600 meters up on this. Really interesting to see. That's where they blew up. So they reached their 60-second limit on the missile. So it'd also be where the engine cut out. So that's about correct. So let's see, just about there. There we go. So just here. So how far is that? That is 1900, just over 1900 meters. So we were just at the range of hitting that when we used the missiles on that previous test. Okay. Right then. So we've tried 3. How about 4 engines? Is there an advantage now of using 4 engines? So let me just, sorry about that. Let me just get myself back into position. There we go. I'm steady now. Right. So we'll prepare it for firing. Right. So here we have a. Let's see. Let's get this right. I think this is 13 blocks, and basically thrusters up to 60 seconds. Enough fuel. A 1 turn. Now a regulator. The regulator allows it to last for 160 seconds. So we have a 1 turn. This one's got 2 turns. And finally, 2 turns, 2 fins. This has got 1 fin. What's the difference on this one? Oh yeah, what I did on this one is made a booster. I'm thinking at the very beginning, it's going to go double speed to just try and get the speed up at the beginning as quick as possible. Then it will use the 2 longer thrusters after that, just to see if speeding it up quickly at the beginning has any benefit to the missile. But otherwise they are similar to these ones. Right, are we ready? And away they go. Stabilize my view. Okay, so we've got the 1, the 2, and this one is the double speed. You can see it's got a head on the initial launch. So will it do any better than the 4, which is just staged? And we have the low range missile. Though these bigger missiles, there's a bigger difference between 1 fin and 2 fins. Significant difference there. Well, it slowed down, so it definitely got ahead a little bit, but now the other ones aren't catching up. But it didn't get that much of a lead on it. And let's see, how far did we get? Let's see. This is 4. So this is 4 engines. That one, okay, it's cut. Will the other ones beat it? Yeah, the one down below is already gone further. How far? Where will you land in the water? We'll take it as a water landing as being the point, I think. This will be as... Oh, let's see, just there. So if you're a target just here, I would have got you just. And that is a distance of 2,045 meters. So, okay, 2,045, just, but that's a lot of blocks and resources to get that distance. But okay, let's take this to the ultimate then. So if 4 got us 2,000 meters, how far will 8 take us? So this is about as big a missile as I could make and still make it functional in some way. So it is, see, we've got, I think it's 23, 22 and 24 blocks. Now the way I've done the missiles is they're doubling up. So the first 2 fire, then the second 2, then the third 2, then the fourth 2. We've got 3 fins here, 1 turn, regulator and infrared. And in here we have, just from memory, just 1 fin. And this one, just to see what it's like, we put 6 fins to see how it performs. So this is didn't be double the weight, but double the thrusters. So let's have a look, just to see what happens. And they are off. Right, okay. Let's see how they go. They are slow. You can just see how slow they are in comparison to like the first block, the 4 block missile. These are what, 5 times as big. Well, we're talking 6 times bigger. The 24 block is 6 times bigger than the 4 block. So okay, they're getting on. They're getting on. Are you going to get any further? Come on, come on. So the one at the bottom is still the leader. We'll do the again when it lands in the water. See how far it will go. Did it. Right, here we go. Get in there, come on, come on. The one fin's almost stratospheric at this point. Okay, so this is as far as they got. So they got there, which is 1,500 meters, 1,500 meters. So they didn't really get any further than, they actually got worse than a 4 block for all of those resources. So in actual fact, no benefit of having such a large missile and boosters, unless you could stage them further so that it could go beyond 60, so you could have it so it only triggered at say 80 and so on. That'd be the only way to make that missile go further. Then even then, the benefits of long missiles. Going back to our first one, remember this is 1 warhead we have in these missiles. So this very first missile we did, which had a laser designated 1 warhead, it did fairly well at getting at up to, for 4 blocks, so that's a 1 in 4, 1,500 meters. Now the second set at 7 blocks, again only a 1 warhead, so that's a 1 in 7, so blocks, got to 1,800. So that's quite a, it's a little bit better. That's a good distance. That's 1,800. And finally, well, our 10 block, that was our longest distance using laser designated, so that was about 1,900 meters, a little bit further. But again, for a 10 block, 910 block, it was only one warhead. One of these might be able to fit a little bit more in. I think if we mucked around with the fins, etc., but it's only for 1900. You're only a little bit better than the 7 block. So, and when it went up to, on the other platform, when we went to the 13 block with 4 boosters, the distance was no better really. It was just getting to that 2000. But then you've got a 1 in 20. So for just simplistically getting a single warhead out there, economically it would be better to have lots of the 4 missiles. Just go for that slightly little range. If you really must get longer range in, the 7 missile would be a good possibility. This one here had an extra way. We could put 2 explosives in there. There obviously does come down now down to what if, which maybe I'll do at a different time. This was purely how far can you go, and we proved we could go 2000 meters, but it's not really effective. 1900 is a good range to aim for. So when you're setting up all of your controllers on your missiles, make sure they don't go above 2000. I mean, I think about 1800, 1600 would be enough, and that way you won't waste any missiles. But you can test them out for yourself. I'll be doing some more testing on possibly warhead effectiveness, and also some of the guidance. I might do a similar one with some moving targets, some aerial targets and some moving targets, just to try the different guidance methods. But for now, excuse me, I hope this has been useful, and you've been able to gain something from this little lab, that the distance of missiles, it is dependent upon their weight, and you know, at the moment there's no advantage in going too far compared to cannons, and also there is targeting issues beyond 2000 meters anyway. So if you enjoyed, please comment, please give us a like, and the thumbs up is always appreciated. And if you want more labs or want something looked at in particular, maybe the bomb bay or missiles or cannons, please let me know, and I will endeavour to have an investigation. Until next time, have fun.